Every painting has a range of values, but that range doesn't have to be from white to black. It could be, for example, from light gray to dark gray. It could be from white to a medium gray. We would call that a high key painting. Or it could be from a light gray to a black. That we would call a low key painting. But whatever range it has, that range has a middle value. Let's take a look at this little patch of color over here. It looks pretty dark. It looks very dark. That's because it's surrounded by so much white paper. The contrast is enormous. However, if we had defined our darkest dark with this, we'd be in trouble. And here's why. In fact, that was a mid-value. We've got our darkest darks down around in here, and our lightest lights around here. If this were lighter, that would have forced the whole painting into a much higher key, because that's our mid-value. Our darkest darks can't be very dark, or this gets washed out. So what's the point of this? That the first stroke in a painting is an extremely important one, because if you're painting something that is a mid-value and you put it into dark, you have just pulled down the whole key of the painting. And if you put it into light, you've moved up the whole key of the painting. So not only do you have to have a pretty good sense of what it is you're going to paint before you start, then you have to get the value of that first stroke pretty much as you want it in the final painting. But remember, watercolor dries lighter than it is when it's full wet. So you're going to have to allow for that too, and that kind of makes watercolor a little tricky to start. It's probably the main thing that people think about when they say that watercolor is a difficult medium. What are we going to do about this? Okay, here's an ordinary piece of copy paper. Let's just make a gauge. We'll take any one of our darker colors and let's put pure color on here. Just as thick as we can put it on, right out of the tube color. All right, over here we have one that we've done, and that one is no color. Now what we're going to do is get one in the middle. Well, I'm going to judge that to be about in the middle. Let's take a look. What do you think? Mid-value? I think mid-value. Okay. Let me just put a pencil line here so we know what we're looking at. That's the light one. So now let's prove that that dark one is dark. Let's make one not quite as dark. And put it in there. I think maybe a little more water. Something like this. No, much darker. Something like